This is the first lesson in our unit of measurement, and we're going to start by reviewing some of the areas of shapes that you have studied in previous years. So you have a rectangle, a triangle, a parallelogram, and then the last example we're going to do is a composite shape, which has a whole bunch of these things all put together, all those shapes. So what we should be looking at and referring to are area formulas for these shapes. So we'll be talking about these area formulas as we go through and figuring out these shapes and throughout the rest of this unit. So we're going to start with the first example. The first example is simply a rectangle, and from the past you should know that the area of a rectangle is simply taking the length of the rectangle and multiplying it by the width. So this is the length, this is the width. So when we go to put it into our formula, we say 4.5 times 6.8, which should give us an area, if we put it in our calculator, of 30.6 square centimeters. Now remember, area is talking about how many square little units we can draw on a shape. So if we were to divide this into square centimeters and break it up, according to what we just said, there'd be about 30.6 of them. Now we're going to look at the next shape. The next shape is a triangle, and the area of a triangle is the base times its height divided by 2. Now, two things that you need to know. If you're looking at a triangle, the base and the height need to make a 90-degree angle with one another. So these two measurements in this triangle are our base and our height, the 12.8 and the 7.8. So we put them into our formula. The base, 12.8, multiplied by the height of 7.8, and divide that by 2. That will tell me how many square units I could draw in this triangle. And again, in our calculators, we should be able to get 49.92 square centimeters in this triangle. Next shape is a parallelogram. A parallelogram is kind of like a kicked over rectangle. And the formula for a parallelogram is base times height. Now, just like the triangle, this doesn't have a length and a width, it has a base and a height. So when you're looking at a parallelogram, you're looking for any two dimensions in here that make a right angle or a 90-degree corner. Base and height need to make a 90-degree angle. So I have a base of 3.1 and a height of 2.1. Again, multiply those and we get 6.51. Oh, it's in meters. 6.51 square meters for the area of this parallelogram. So three simple shapes working with formulas that you've used in the past. Now we're going to go into this composite shape. When you look at a composite shape, you should try to get your eyes to see the different shapes that could be inside of this. Composite shapes mean you're going to be using a few formulas and then adding up all of the areas together. So what I notice is that I do have a triangle here, and if I divide this up, I have two rectangles. So I can talk about this in terms of area 1, area 2, and area 3. And at the end, if I add up all of these areas, I'm going to have the area of the whole composite shape. Now, my suggestion to a lot of people when we're doing this is, number one, clearly organize your work. And number two, maybe take out the pieces we're looking at. So area 1 is simply this rectangle. It's 6.8 centimeters by 13.4 centimeters. So to find the area of this shape, we're going to multiply the length and the width. So I have 13.4 centimeters multiplied by 6.8 centimeters, which would give me an area of 91.12 square centimeters. So that is area 1, that rectangle. Now if we look at area 2, which is another rectangle, and again, take the shape out just to see what you're looking at. It's a smaller one, and it has a width of 3.1 centimeters and a length of 6.2 centimeters, Again, being a rectangle, we could say area 2 is length times width. Area 2 is 6.2 multiplied by 3.1. So area 2 has an area of 19.22 square centimeters. So we dealt with the two rectangles. Now we got to take a look at this big triangle. So area 3 is this triangle at the end. And again, I'm just going to draw what it would look like independently. And there are some things on here that we need to look at. So if I was looking at area 3 has this long base on it. We need to figure out the area or the length of that base. Well, this part here is 6.8 and the top part is 3.1. So if I combine those or add those together, that gives me the base of this triangle, which is 9.9 centimeters. Now remember, the height of a triangle has to make a 90-degree angle with that base. And if I look at this 12.6 that's on the outside, if I was to draw that inside the triangle, it would make a right angle. It's not on a slant or anything. So the height of this triangle along here, making a 90-degree angle, is 12.6 centimeters. So remembering back to the example we did, area 3 is just base times height divided by 2 because it is a triangle. So area 3, the base we said is 9.9 by combining those two lengths. The height, that 90-degree angle with the base of 12.6, and then we divide by 2. And if we multiply 9.9 and 12.6 and divide by 2, we get an area for this rectangle of 62.37 square centimeters. So all we found is the 3 different regions or the 3 different shapes that this composite shape is made up of. The last step is to find the final area of this shape. So the final area would be taking area 1 and adding area 2 and adding area 3, adding all of them up. So the area of this composite shape, area 1 was 91.12 square centimeters, plus area 2, which is 19.22 square centimeters, plus area 3, which is 62.37 square centimeters. And if I combine all 3 of those regions of this composite shape, I get a total of 172.71 square centimeters. So this is the final answer in this composite shape. Now, no matter what we're doing, area, volume, perimeter, whatever we're doing in a measurement unit, you need to include your units. So always know the units for area are squared, and we'll talk about the other area, or sorry, the other unit measurements when we get to those topics.